Chief Master, 13th Smith, Total Force Training Group. I'm talking on a subject that I'm sure is going to be controversial, but that don't bother me. If you don't hear any crazy noises, I have a dog here bothering me for my every little bit of attention. Because since it's just been me and him most of the weekend, he's been all up under my feet and getting used to being spoiled, as if he's not spoiled enough already. So if you hear any crazy noises, it's probably him. Well, it might be me too. Anyway, so we're going to talk about a little bit more offensive type of tactics on this, but that can still be in the realm of self-defense. And that would be military-type sentry removal techniques. Do they have a place for the civilian defendant? And I emphatically answer absolutely yes, they do. And there's a couple very small places, but nevertheless, they are places where they work. And both of them are similar, but different. The first one is active threats, an active shooter situation. There's a lot of active shooter training, and a lot of it centers around this. Well, unfortunately, there's some places where that sign on the door that says none of these allowed carries the weight of law. And my state happens to be one of those. So it's either this, or this and make it a misdemeanor. To each their own. But there is a reason where even if this might be allowed, the others start to look like a better option. And the first one of those that comes to mind, and the only one that comes to mind really, is when you don't want to compromise your position or your intentions. Let's say, for example, you're in a mall, and the exit on your side is closed for whatever reason. You can't get to it. Alright? Your only option is to go, let's say, that way. Let's say we're in a hallway. Well, let's say you had to go to the john. So you're coming out of the head, you're coming out of the bathroom, and, right about the time, you go to secure your britches. Trying to say it in a way that can be gender neutral there. But you go to secure your britches and you start hearing gunfire. Alright? They ain't made it your way yet. Sounds like they're going that way. Alright, cool. Maybe you locked the door. Alright? You get behind some thick stuff so you can't get in there. Alright? You hear them moving on. Alright? You ease the door open. This area is secure. Damn, I can't go that way. Well, you look up that way. Old boy is facing this direction. Maybe he's reloading. Maybe he's messing with an IED. For whatever reason, his attention's this way. This looks like a pretty good option. Because if his homeboy is over there on the other hall, okay, or maybe he went this way, and for whatever reason, his homeboy is not in sight. You close on him, put him down with the blade. You ain't got time to sit there poking, sticking, and stabbing. You got to do it quick, you got to do it immediately, you got to do it now, and you got to do it quietly. Why? Because if his buddy squalls, all right, and the one that ain't in your sights hears it, he's going to come to back his boy up. And some will say, well, criminals don't necessarily have that bond of brotherhood and loyalty. Keep telling yourself that. Some of them do. And do you really want to train for that? I would rather train for a criminal being better than they are. Okay? Granted, I'd rather be lucky than good, but I'll take being good too. Alright? So, you move in, dispatch him with a knife. Couple ways to do that. With the average folder that most people are going to be carrying, really only one of them is reliable. And that's lifting the chin by attacking the filter and securing at the jaw. You can grab if you want to. Either way, you're going to lift the chin up, point goes in, blade goes out. Cut the whole lot out. And where do you stick it in at? As far back as you can. Go around the spinal cord. So if this is the spinal cord, think of reaching around it with your edge. Normally I would be hesitant about putting something like that on YouTube, but there's a very funny video of an old British commando that looks like he would just be another grandpa that would sit there and, not be what he is. Dude was a commando during World War II. He talks about doing the same thing with a Fairbairn Sykes commando knife and breaking people's arms because they doubted the training back then. So he's a pretty hardcore dude. Since I've already put that video out there, I really don't care if I put another one out. Maybe you don't want to use the knife, or you're in an area where using the knife is verboten. There are some places that are more strict on knives than they are on guns. Why, I don't know, but they are. You can use a vascular restraint to feign blood choke. If you're a police officer, that might be a good idea to go to those handcuffs then. Get them down and out of fight. You can use a tracheal choke, which is cutting off the airflow, which causes usually more permanent effects than the vascular choke. But again, like I said, it causes more permanent effects. You have to be careful training it. But then again, you have to be fairly careful training a vascular choke, although I will say it is more forgiving. Get them down that way. You can use a blunt object. Maybe the bathroom has the cleaning supplies in it. Brain them over the head with something heavy on the cleaning cart. Something there. That might work too. Maybe the only reason you're having to go to this is because you need to surprise them to get their weapon. That could be the reason here. Again, you might not have this. Or maybe you're one of the people that put a little 6-shot 380 in your coat pocket, call it even at that. You really want to fight a man shooting at you with automatic weapons, or even a semi-automatic rifle with that? I don't. That's why I carry an 18-shot 9mm at a minimum. By at a minimum, I mean if I'm just carrying one. I don't put everything I carry out there now. I always want to have a few hidden tricks, but still. So here we sit, and we got this guy down. Now we can escape. Maybe he's impeding our escape path. Maybe there's no safe way for us to escape without putting him down. All right? That's one option. Maybe we need to secure a better weapon. The Liberator pistol in World War II was designed for that reason. Before the Liberator pistol type of deal, you had the knife. The knife was always available for making a Sentry not need his weapon anymore. The other option is for home defense. And I know so many people that have multiple story houses and have their room on a different floor, which is fine, to each their own. But they got family in an upstairs or downstairs, and their room is the opposite. Think about it like this. If you hear the bump in the night, again, maybe you're making a head call, whatever, and the only reason I say that is because I look at the layout of my house, and realistically, the only way I would be away from where the bedrooms are located would be if I was in the head. But your house may vary. Maybe you're in someone else's house and you're just on the other side of the house for whatever reason. In my instance, the only time I don't have my gun on me is pretty much if I'm in my skivvies or my pajamas. When I put my pants on in the morning, my gun comes with it. And it stays on me until I take my britches off and get ready to go to bed that night. So when I go to take a shower, my britches come off, obviously, and I put my pajamas out there, my gun stays close. But if I get up at 4 in the morning, I'm probably not going to pick it up and walk to the bathroom. Why? Because I have a weapon in the bathroom. It's not necessarily a firearm, but I promise you, by formally I mean it's an expired certification. I'm a level 2 instructor in Filipino stick and knife combatives, and I shave with a straight razor, so guess what's in the bathroom? Ask yourself if you really want to fight with that. I don't. Now, I know plenty of people whose home defense methods rely solely on this. I guarantee you, every one of you got a knife in the kitchen. All right? So something to think about. Maybe you hear a bump in the night, maybe, and you hear someone milling around near your bedroom. Let's suppose for a second your bedroom, master bedroom, is on the bottom floor. Your children's bedroom is on the top floor. Let's say you have a daughter, and the reason I'm saying this is because I don't play. If someone does something with my son, I don't have any children, but if I had a son, someone was attempting to harm him or do something bad to him, needless to say, me and them would have a very serious problem. If I had a daughter, it'd be even worse, just because I believe, you don't mess with children, you don't mess with women, and you don't mess with animals. I'm a hunter, that's fine. There's an ethical way to do it. I don't like poachers neither, so we'll put that out there. This is a pretty good home defense tool for quiet work. You got to know what you're doing. But let's say for a second, I hear that bump in the night, I get up, maybe I'm coming out of the head, whatever, and I don't have my gun. Maybe I can get to my gun, but I hear my daughter upstairs screaming. Now, if I still hear someone down there on the bottom floor, I have got to assume that both parties are heavily armed. Okay? If I go straight to my gun, bang, 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 I shoot this guy on the ground, and I'm not dry firing at all because this weapon is loaded. You know, I put him on the ground. Well, now the screaming turns into gurgling. Maybe I hear a gunshot from upstairs. Maybe I hear the window break upstairs and the screaming getting further away. Now I'm dealing with my kid dying or my kid getting kidnapped because I made the decision to go loud. If I look out my door, right, easily crack it, I move at this position, maybe I don't have my light on, I'm using ambient light, and I see, wait a minute, hey, this guy right here, he ain't paying no attention. Go into that Sentry removal stuff. Maybe I attack him with a choke. Maybe I rip the throat out. Maybe I brain him with this mag light. Maybe I brain him with a Louisville Slugger. Maybe I was coming out of the bathroom and can't get to my gun. My only option is my straight razor. Okay? So, either way, I have dispatched and eliminated the threat quietly. There's no gunshots. There's nothing to tell that person upstairs that his homeboy is no longer available. Alright? Now I'm free and clear to move on and do what I got to do. Again, you don't necessarily have to go lethal, but understanding when to go lethal and when to be less than lethal is pivotal of using force. If you don't understand both ends, all you have is one option. And I'm going to tell you, if you have someone who's placing an IED in the mall, you probably don't want to be less than lethal. Unless you got handcuffs or something to keep them from getting back over there to it. Which brings me up to the use of restraints. I keep flex cuffs all over just because I bought a shit ton of the Greg Thompson designed spider ties a few years ago. And I kept forgetting them. And when I finally, either that or I lost several bags that came in bags of 10 where I was getting them. And I lost several of them under the seat of my truck. And when the transmission crapped out and I sold it, I looked under the seat of my truck, there's like 3 bags under the seat, different places, so I got a bunch of them. But I got a few stashed in a few different places. Might be a time to use those if you're concerned with being quiet. I would also suggest, as crazy as this may sound, gagging them. Because if they start screaming, their homeboy upstairs can still be alerted to do whatever they're going to do to your loved ones before you arrive on site. Alright? Again, unless you're using lethal force. Personally, if I hear someone in my family screaming, and I know that this individual is a party to that, they might not necessarily be the perpetrator, but that might be one of those where it might be better to be judged than judged. Just because I'm one of those, you'd have better luck trying to fight the devil than you trying to fight the devil in a fist fight than messing with my family. I don't play that game. Anyway, and hell, even when I was a criminal, there's 2 things you didn't mess with around there and let me find out about, and that was women and children. I don't play that game, but never did. So recapping, there are ways to be very proactive and do things that are considered totally offensive and not useful for civilians. Matter of fact, some entities only teach that stuff to military or law enforcement. Which that's not necessarily a bad idea, but there is a place for it. And I won't do in-depth classes on it with people that aren't thoroughly vetted. But then again, I'm not going to do a class with anybody that's not thoroughly vetted. So, anyway. There's a place for it. And the first place for it is obviously, because it's closest to home, in your home, when you need to remove a threat. I'm not going to say eliminate, because you might not necessarily want to be putting them down for good. But you need to remove a threat. So you need to remove a threat directly and discreetly, or you need to simply remove their ability to notify a partner in crime. Remember, the +1 rule is always in effect, so maybe this isn't necessarily a bad idea for option. And I'm certainly not saying it should be your first go-to. I'm just saying it should be an option. It's not the option, just like shooting them isn't the option. It's an option. Me personally, my home defense setup looks something like a German Shepherd and a 9mm. But obviously there are other tools in place, as we just discussed. If you're in your home, there may be a need to be discreet. There may be a need to just be direct. Now, if you're out and about, again, there may be a need to be discreet to secure an escape. There may be a need to be direct. Maybe there is no logical escape plan for you, and you realize that the shooter shooting this in the mall, this might be a little bit easier to hold his buddy off with than your little 380 pocket rocket. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, would you rather see a 380 around the corner or this? I mean, I'd much rather be dealing with a 380 personally. I mean, I'd rather be standing behind the corner with this than I would be with a 380. And if I was opposing it, I would much rather see a 380 muzzle around the corner than that street howitzer right there. So maybe I need to secure a better weapon, which was the purpose for Sentry removal in a lot of instances during World War II. So something to think about. Don't rule it out, and certainly practice it. Besides, sneaking up on your friends and choking them is good fun. At least it is with my friend. We think it's funny. Obviously, combative training is dangerous, so be careful if you're training. Get involved in a good hand-to-hand school. Start learning some good knife skills, and that'll really enhance your ability to use these. Oh, and last thing, if you use restraints, if you're restraining their ability to move, if you're trying to be discreet, if you're not trying to be discreet, that's fine, but if you're trying to be discreet, you probably want to move their ability to let their buddy know what's going on too. So, bound and gagged. That's the way criminals need to be anyway. I hope y'all enjoy this, and y'all stay frosty, stay in the fight. If I can do anything for y'all, let me know, and don't forget to check out our website, totalforcetraining.weebly.com, and of course, if you're interested in hosting classes, get up with us, and we'll help you out. Stay in the fight and have a good one. Come on, dog, let's go in the house.